This meeting to order. Welcome to the regular city council meeting of the city of Delray Oaks City Council. Karen, would you please perform roll call? Here.
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 All right, if we can all join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation, Okay, at this time, we're going to open chambers to public comment. Any general public comment must deal with matters subject to the jurisdiction and of the city and the council that are not on the agenda. So anyone wishing to address the city council on matters not appearing on the agenda may do so now. Public may comment on any other matter listed on the agenda at the time the matter is being considered. There will be a time limit of not more than 3 minutes for each speaker. No action will be taken on matters brought up under this item, and all comments will be referred to staff.
Good evening, everyone. Helen Birdsong. I live at the Oaks condominiums. Again, I'm bringing up this smoking ordinance. That has any resolutions been on how you're actually going to enforce it? I did request at one of the last meetings that even a letter to our residents that we're a multi-unit residential building that does not allow smoking, and the city ordinance in it would help. I've heard nothing back from anybody, and I'm going to just keep coming. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Chris Buget. I'm a resident of Delray Oaks, live on Carlton Drive. I just wanted to talk about a couple things tonight, specifically about Carlton Drive and the FORTAG project. Two main points I'd like to relay to you all tonight. This is the first is just how long it's taken for this FORTAG project. We're coming up on a year of Carlton being closed when originally they said it was going to be open by last July. And when you try and get information out of Granite or TAMC and even City Hall, it's pretty difficult and not a whole lot of empathy for the residents. The second thing I want to bring up was traffic on Carlton, since we supposedly are going to have it reopened in March now. Fingers crossed on that. Prior to the project beginning, speeding was a significant safety issue on Carlton. You could count on cars, you'd hear them come off Canyon Del Rey, they'd floor it, and you'd look at the speed signs that are there and they're consistently over 30, 35 miles an hour. You go walk on Portola or Work or Saucedo right now, and you're seeing the same thing on the narrow streets. Cars are flying through there. The police department has parked a couple police cars, but that doesn't do anything. If you speak to Delray Oaks police officers, they'll tell you a lot of times when they do get people for speeding, they're not Delray Oaks residents. They're people that were using Carlton or those side streets to get through into Seaside. Several years ago, the city did a 30-day trial run and they closed Carlton Drive at Highland. As a resident on that street, it was great. It's like it is now with no traffic. I got two little kids. It's great. They could be out walking, riding their bikes, playing basketball, not having to worry about a ball going in the street and getting hit by a car. So what I'd like to ask the council is possibly reconsider that closure now that it's getting ready to be reopened again. It's been almost a year that it's been closed, so people have gotten used to going around and finding another way to where they need to go. Especially with Carlton having been reconfigured, it's now a narrower street parking, and you have a 2-lane pedestrian and bike path with no barrier between it and the street. Once it's open and people start speeding again, it's a recipe for disaster. Someone is going to get hurt or, God forbid, killed at some point, and I would like to avoid that. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, we will close public comment period. And the next item on our agenda is presentation. Chief Berkwin will give an annual update on our 2025 police statistics. Chief?
Thank you for having me. The city manager approached me a little bit back and said it would be nice to kind of do an update on the year, kind of pack things up. Although for us, things continue even with 2025 with cases still being unresolved or being solved. So numbers will change over time, but we're going to start with a few numbers, the boring part, and maybe talk a little bit about some case studies very quickly. So last year, 340 cases, 58 arrests, 29 infield sites. Total calls for service were 2878. I know I put out a monthly total of our calls for service. Calls for service are tough. I go by CAD entries, so these numbers are a little bit different from mine in terms of the calls for service. But every time we do something worthy of the dispatcher needing to type something into a computer system um, to make sure it's saved forever, memorialized, that's what I count. And you can see the division between the airport and the city. Next slide. These are just calls first half of the year. You can see things are pretty much, since I've been here, it'll be 31 years soon. It's amazing that year after year after year, our stats remain very constant. They really do. Next slide. And the second half of the year. Again, nothing too remarkable to report there. Next slide. All right. Oh, this is the airport call. Next slide. These are a lot less than what we deal with. Airport calls are very much different from most of the calls that we get in the city. Although we're just as busy at the airport as we are in the city, it's just not resulting in calls for service or CAD events or stuff like that. But there's plenty to do over there. So you can't really take a calls for service, so you're doing twice as much in Dorio's as you're doing in the airport. It doesn't work that way. We're just as busy over there as we are here. Next slide. Arrest by violations. You can see, so unlicensed driver, that's a big one. So when we pull somebody over who is unlicensed, like it says arrest by violations, we do not take people to jail who are driving unlicensed, but it is a misdemeanor. We cite as a misdemeanor. The DA's office requires us to or requests us to. And technically, it's an arrest. You're being released on a citation from a misdemeanor that you've committed in our presence. So that's why that number is high. We're not taking people driving unlicensed to jail. All right. One thing I did want to point out is the petty theft with priors. So when I started in law enforcement, there was a section, Penal Code section 666 484, and it was known to us as petty theft with priors. So those are the folks that steal stuff and go to court and pay some restitution or do some jail time, whatever it was that they did, and then they get out and then they steal more stuff. So those are those folks. That's when we'd use that. So recently we had Prop 36 come across our ballots. It was supported by over 70% of the residents in the state, and it passed. And one of the things in Prop 36, it had multiple different things in it, but one of the things was to bring back that perpetual theft component. So over last year, we cited 9 people for that had 2 previous either shopliftings, burglaries, or carjackings. So those are the people that apply to the 9 right there. So those are folks that have already stolen, gotten in trouble, been to court, been convicted, and gone out and stolen again. So I don't know if you have any questions specifically on that, but If you go to the next slide. So these are our accidents. You can see that we had 2025 and 2024. I can't attribute that to anything. We're small, our numbers are fairly small, and so traditionally it doesn't take a lot to skew them. You need to take multiple years, decades to find that median, and we're always within that. Next slide, please. Where's our total thefts? Now, I'm not saying that Prop 36 was the component that helped reduce our thefts from 36 to 18. So I just wanted to make that point. I'm not saying that at all. Again, this has to go over time. So if we get 10 years of data from now and we say, yeah, the 10 years before Prop 36, it looked like this, and after it looked like this, and maybe you can draw an analogy. But we can't, not with the small amount of data we have. Next slide, please. All right, the DEA. Some of you know, I know that we talked about it in our police advisory committee. Whose job it is to get drugs off the street. And listed there are 3 different cases that they were able to. You can see the sizable, especially of the opiates, the fentanyl, that is coming from any industry. I'm absolutely in support. We've had deaths in Del Rey Oaks directly related to fentanyl. People dead with high fentanyl on one hand, lighter in the other hand, dead. That's how fast. I'll say that. Great. Next slide. Some highlight. Okay. So this is where I want and how things have changed over time. So this first case, solving it because somebody's brain cancer. A lot of that and it's on, things get cheaper, lottery hammers out there. And so this time we happen to get lucky, got a pretty good photo, and saw them walking around Del Rey. This is a person that was also committing crimes in other jurisdictions, same type of things going on the porch. And that really aggravates me. I don't know if you guys ever see the news articles about the people running on the porch and stealing your stuff. I mean, we all work hard for our stuff and kind of want to be able to buy something nice and keep it. And so she was arrested. Next slide. This was an invented Safeway. Again, you can see how good it is. We're able to identify using updated license plate information. ALPR is in the county. We don't not have it because speaking for me only. So we do though rely on jurisdictions to scale here. Trying to identify particular. We're able to resolve that. And if not for the reader, we likely would not have been. Next slide. Again, ALPR. So when I say that Del Rey Oaks is now ALPR, and so this person broke into my car, with the ALP and also video editor. They're very good about it. Matt been there forever. I think he's been at the office as long as I've been here. Very good. Illegal dumping in Delray Oaks. However, I'll say that people that say that Delray Oaks dumping, you are correct. We do have to do that. So that is some of the, notoriety for being, we were minding business. Sad. So, God, it's like, and then actually chance there. Am I walking away too far? Sorry. Yeah, anyway, we contacted the guy, and we ended up issuing him a citation. So what could have been tragic and sad, though, had a happy ending. Next slide. All right, so he may look familiar to you. Our garden gnome was repurposed. We have a very, he's an amazing guy, Ken Bao. He worked for Salinas for 25, 30 years and then came to work for the airport, now us. And he's just super handy. So he took it upon himself. I don't know if you noticed in the other pictures, but the garden gnome was missing an arm. He built an arm, he built a hand, and painted him. And he now lives right outside our police department door. Kind of keeps an eye on things while we're out doing our work. So I feel like he gave us new lease on life and we gave him one too. He's a good man. Next slide. This is the last slide. This is kind of stuff that we get now that, again, technology, whatever you think about Teslas or anything about that word, they got good technology in them. And one of the things that they have is cameras. Go ahead and hit play. So this is from a few weeks back. And this is just a random citizen following behind a random car. But if you watch the car, you'll notice there's something peculiar about their driving. Over the white fog line into the bike lane, now way over there. Now we're gonna go way back again. And now this time we're just gonna almost drive on the wrong side of the road, like completely. Anyway, we were able to contact this person. I'm not going to get into the specifics because it's ongoing, but I just wanted to show you the kind of stuff that we get. And remember that wherever you go now, I mean everywhere you go, your phone tells you where you are, the surroundings are taking pictures of you, and that's just the world we live in. I personally don't plan on doing anything wrong day to day, so I could care less. Some people do, but that's the reality, and that's where we live right now. So that's my presentation. Don't drive like that person. Don't dump your stuff in Delray Oaks. Give the garden gnome to us. I'll talk to Ken. We could refurbish it for you and give it back to you rather than dumping it on the side of the road. Anybody have any questions for it?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
The testing footage, do you have to work with the company or driver? How do you get that?
I believe it's available to the driver. Yeah. It's probably a type of DVR within the vehicle. And it's not just Teslas. There's so many cars now that have the dash cams, and most of them take, it used to be the little car. We used to put those in our cameras, right? The little, I don't even know which one it is, DS or can't remember. But you couldn't hold too many pictures on it. They weren't that big. Now they're like 200 gig, 500 gig on a little bitty card, and you just put that in your camera, push go, and away you go. So there's a lot of those, all of MST. Sometimes we get stuff that MST happen to be around. We can get footage from them. So there's just a lot of technology.
If I can make a couple of comments too. So Chief, you don't have to double check me on my numbers, but just for everybody, I think when the commander gave me the report back in December, I think on these stats, so it wasn't as robust as yours, but I did some math, and I think for this last calendar year, we were somewhere over 70% closure rate on active crimes, factoring in that some of that 30% were new crimes that had just occurred.
Yeah, that sounds a bit right. I didn't do our closure rate. Closure rate's a weird thing. I spoke at one time, maybe it was just to the committee, the police committee, but we switched recently from how we track crime, not we, but the state. So it used to be collected under what's called uniform crime reporting, and Chris could go out and commit 100 crimes, and the police department reported 1. So it wasn't a good real statistic of what really is happening, what crimes are happening. So now with the new way we collect crime data under NIBRS, you collect the top 10. So in fact, I don't think we've reached 10 yet, and I hope we don't. That's a person that's out for blood. But we certainly have people that have 2 or 3 or 4 different crimes that are reportable. And the thing is that as time goes on, so we're done, 2025 is done, we'll be solving 2025 crimes into 2026. Misdemeanors, we've got a year. Felonies, we have a lot longer. So it's hard. We do a very good job. I'll put it that way. Putting an exact number on it, I wouldn't be able to do. But I always look at the violent crime. It used to be the old Part 1 crimes, which murder, manslaughter, robbery, rape, assault with a deadly weapon, or people assaults with great bodily injury, stuff like that. The violent crime, those are the things that you really need to solve. We don't have a lot of violent crime, but we do a good job on resolving those. So, and that's got nothing to do with me. I'll put those up in a second. It's our guys, and you need a very strong team, and it really does that. The patrol aspect, the stuff that's going on in the city, the resolving of these crimes, really stops at commander level. He's the one that's doing everything, not doing everything. He's the one responsible for making sure that all these things are getting done. We all have our own responsibilities, officer level. Everybody's got a piece of this. It's all of our city. But it certainly had nothing to do with me. It's good people, it's hard work, and technology, I'll be honest. It's made a big difference.
One more thing to brag about it. That's all right.
Please.
Yeah. So this is down to the chief and his leadership. So we have our insurance pool, which is called a JPA. It's a Joint Powers Authority, and so it's a group of other similar size. Sand City's the smallest. We're the second smallest, and then other similarly sized cities in the region that join together to get liability insurance, property insurance, workers' comp insurance. So we just had our board meeting yesterday, and we are actually considered the poster children for doing the right thing when it comes to public safety and law enforcement. Because, as you guys see when you watch the news, doing law enforcement is a risky business, and the laws change all the time, and how they interact with the general public, but also with criminals changes all the time, and what are the rules of engagement and what can you do? And so we've been on the forefront of training when it comes to that stuff. So we have the ABLE program, which was new. We were the first to jump on, being the JPA. We were the first to adopt that as a standard. Our police department was actually the first to be trained in the region and then go out and be what they call train the trainers. So they trained us, and then we go out and help train other jurisdictions. And so that's down to the chief. But also Briefing Room, which is a new training system that's out there that is a supplement to our post training. And so we've been early adopters on all of that kind of stuff, which has helped with our liability insurance premiums a little bit. And it's also then becoming the standard that unfortunately you don't get to go and crow about, but the representatives of our JPA get to go and crow about on your behalf. And so thanks for that, Chief.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. Those are all great programs. So the thing about being a small department is that it's rare that you find something that works really good for LAPD and Delray Oaks that we can afford. In fact, it's almost impossible, but there are these gems out there. And when you find them, the people that care about us having their product and LAPD, they get it. So it really is management in these companies or owners of the companies that understand that. There's some great stuff out there that we would like to get. We'll keep on trying, maybe getting on the coattails of larger agencies like the sheriff's office or something like that. But the programs and the stuff that we get to help our folks be successful, it's money worth spending. I'll do it every time. If it's not exorbitant or impossible, I will find a way to do it.
Yeah, actually the lead attorney, liability attorney for our insurance group is actually coming out next week to talk to the chief about some of the training and actually watch him take a training so that he
Yes.
can see what the training's like. Yeah.
He's a good man. I respect him, and I didn't know that he wanted to come and watch me train, but he's going to.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. City Manager, for highlighting the exemplary level of service, and thank you, Chief, for your excellence in duty and diligence and presenting us with this update and emphasizing all that you and your officers do to keep our community safe. So would any of the other council members like to have any questions or comments? Councilmember Shirley?
Thank you, Chief Berkwin. Appreciate this. First question, has there been less, I know the Nome caper was pretty well publicized. Has there been less dumping since that happened?
It's a good question. I think we had a slide with it on. I think it was 2 1 year, 3 the other year, maybe 3 and 4. So that was 2025, 2024. So it remains, to me, kind of not reduced,
Okay,
but, you know, we're having good success. And hopefully that translates into stories and people say, hey man, we better go throw this stuff out somewhere, like maybe the
Right.
dump. How about going to the dump and throwing your stuff away?
right.
I guess it's not the dump anymore. It will always be the dump in my heart.
I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide,
Love
Chief Bergquin.
But yeah, it's relatively, there's not a lot of it, but
Okay.
it's still occurring.
Okay. Another question on your slide, your arrest by violation. One of those violations was conspiracy. And I was wondering if you could describe what that is.
I don't remember the case specifically, but it's, you know, 2 or more people conspire to commit a crime as conspiracy. So
So like they're planning, like you've caught someone planning to do something.
it is. So me and
bad.
you, because we would be a good team, teamed up, and we're
Okay.
going to go steal a car. Let's say we were not going to steal a car. Let's say we were going to conspire to go into Safeway and steal 1 package of gum. Me and you together are going to
Yeah.
do this. The conspiracy, us conspiring together, is a felony. The package of gum isn't that big of a deal. So conspiracies are hard to prove. I don't know the exact
There was 4 of them. I was
4
curious.
conspiracies.
Yeah.
I
don't
can,
know.
if you need, need the information, I can help with.
It's okay. I had
Yeah.
no idea what that really was. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's just 2 or more people conspiring to do something.
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I really like the comparisons by year. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask is over time. And it sounds like things are kind of maintaining themselves. I was wondering if you could speak to, before our council meeting, I spoke to Mike O'Brien, who was complaining about someone speeding on Portola, driving around someone. We had a public comment about speeding. I'm wondering if you could just speak to the issue of speeding within Delray Oaks and
Sure. Absolutely, I can. So we've had speeding since I've been here, and we'll have speeding 30 years after I'm gone. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is. It's one of those things that just is. The best, well, first of all, what we do semi-regularly is we'll download the data from the signs.
okay.
And the signs that you look at what's called the V85, that's the 85th percentile. How fast are the vehicles going at the 85th percentile? And on Portola, it's never been more than 21, 22. I'm not saying that that's always accurate, because sometimes maybe people live near the sign, they're pulling out, so they're going like 8 miles an hour when they're speeding up, as it were.
Mhm.
But it's pretty accurate. It's hard to speed on Portola. People going 25 on Portola, yeah, it looks like they're going really fast. There's no shoulder. It's a narrow road. What can we do for because of the length of the road, because of the lessened opportunity due to the length to get behind somebody, pace them for a significant distance to make sure that they are speeding, pull them over, such and such, is really tough. Carlton, impossible pretty much. Portola, very tough. In order to work radar on those roads, which is definitely an option, they got to be surveyed. You would have to survey Portola, you'd have to survey Carlton, which costs money. I'm not either pro or against surveys, but I'm letting you know that if there were surveys, we could work radar on that. Without it, we're not going to work radar, because we don't want to end up pulling a car over with the intent of warning. Especially nowadays, every time you pull a car over, something bad can happen. We're not going to pull cars over unless we've got really a legal obligation to. And if we can't even cite the person because the road's not surveyed, we're not going to pull them over. So they would need surveys on those roads.
Can you help me understand that? So you survey the road, and then when you say radar, it'd be like a radar gun that
Yeah.
you have?
Yeah, radar or LiDAR gun, they work the same way. They use sound waves and the Doppler principle to tell how fast cars either coming towards you or going away from you.
Yeah,
But that's what it would take, and it's not like it's a road like speed survey, which is different from some kind of road surveys. Back in the day, they used those things that you ran over, those I don't even know, like remember at the gas station when you'd run in and it would ding when you, it's like those. But
okay,
now they're much better. They have different ways of doing it, but they're not cheap. So you got to pay people to do the survey.
Yeah.
And it's just,
So there's two components of it. They have the traffic survey, which is the tube that stretches across the road. And then you usually have to contract with an engineering firm that does these surveys. And then they'll actually have people go out with radar guns too and actually check how fast cars are going. So one of the potential risks of doing a survey is if everybody's going 35 miles an hour, or everybody's going 30 miles an hour, then in order for us to be able to pull people over, we would have to come back to you all and then have you increase, if we're going to go by the survey, increase the speed limits to 30 miles an hour. That's potential in order to do that. So it's a little more complicated.
Canyon Del Rey.
Right. Yeah. It happened on Canyon Del Rey. It's happened in the city of Monterey. And so sometimes they decide to go with it. Sometimes they don't. So if we wanted to do that, we'd want to bring in a traffic engineering firm so that they could speak more eloquently about it than we can
Yeah.
and what the implications are. But with lacking that, if they pull somebody over by using radar, and the person challenges it, it'll get thrown out.
I see,
Yeah.
I see. I remember years ago, Del Oaks was like the speed trap, where
Yeah.
that's where you get the ticket.
Most of that was Canyon Del Rey.
Yeah.
And the speed limit was 35 miles an hour, where it's now 45. 45 pulling out of our parking lot. Especially the older I get, I find at even 50, almost 60 years old, I'm not as quick reaction
Yeah.
as I once was. And I don't like the 45 mile an hour in front of the department. It's
know.
hard to pull out sometimes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I get it. Now, Canyon Del Rey is surveyed. The Caltrans does that.
Mm-hmm.
So another place where people are doing a lot of speeding is out on South Boundary. It's just that nobody's really out there to complain, that nobody
Right.
lives there really. They're
Right.
going from point A to point B.
Right.
We've had some pretty good wrecks out there due to speeding. But presence is always the best thing. We should be being seen in your neighborhoods, driving down the street. I know that the gentleman mentioned parking cars. We do that from time to time. We also have a radar. It's not a trailer, but a deal that goes on the back of the hood, back of the trunk, that displays signs. But we've already got many of those around our city already that tell you how fast you're going.
Yeah.
But there's not a simple solution. If we're really looking at citing people, pulling people, and don't forget either, and I don't want to say this too loudly, but it's likely the speeders live in Delray Oaks. So now it could be different on Carlton since it's really a byway, but it very well could be the people speeding in our city are people.
Mm-hmm.
And not that doesn't mean that we can't give them a ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. One last question. What's your biggest challenge in our police department?
in my job or in
Just for the force, like as the leader of our police department, what's maybe a challenge maybe that the council should know about, or I guess it's sort of in conjunction to like how can we support you?
right. So the toughest thing with a department our size is functioning with no professional staff. I don't mean we're unprofessional, but professional staff meaning folks that work in a police department but aren't police officers. They do the
Like
ancillary
administrative
duties. Yeah, the
stuff.
administrative duties.
Yeah.
And they're voluminous. They really are. Many departments have upwards, 25, 35% of their police department is that professional staff. So I'm not asking to hire people. We can't afford it when we need that person to be an officer, and we can do administrative stuff on the side, but it is very challenging to do that work. The state is always coming up with new things, I'm just gonna call them things, that take time. And the requirements, it's not like we can say no. And so we gotta find a way to get those things done. So I would say that's probably the toughest thing. Our people that we have working for us like being here, for the most part, a lot, and finding folks to come work for us. We actually swore somebody in yesterday as a reserve. You'll meet him soon. Has been pretty, wouldn't say easy, but our city dictates that we hire folks that may not be successful in an LA or a Salinas or a San Jose. There is a place for everybody. There really is, not that we will hire anybody substandard, but we want people that want to spend an hour talking to somebody rather than getting to the next fence I got to jump over or person I need to tackle. So, because those are rare events, talking to people is every day. So we're doing good with our personnel. So that's what I would say. That's the most difficult part, is the administrative portion of the job that requires all of us to do it together.
Okay, that's good. Informative. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Councilmember Berger?
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, I really want to thank you for your great leadership, your due diligence, and your humility. And I'd like to thank you and your whole staff for keeping us safe and allowing us to sleep at night. Thank you.
Thank
And
you. I'm gonna tell my wife when I got home that I got a semi-standing ovation. So this is really exciting for me.
And Chief, before you step away, I'd like to invite the public, if you have any comments or questions for the chief relative to the update this year, please come to the podium and
No worries. Mike O'Brien, I live on Work Avenue in Dairy Oaks. Just a couple of things. I know there's really no solution about the traffic on Portola and all that kind of things, what I've heard. I've suggested maybe speed bumps, but then you get into a liability issue, you break someone's car, that type of thing. But just the other day, Councilwoman Shirley mentioned that I observed something pretty interesting, and I walk on Portola all the time. And the other day, someone was very impatient on Portola, in the middle of Portola, and they were tailgating this other person. And then they passed it. On Portola, they passed it. And, what are you going to do? I don't have a camera quick enough to bring it out and take a picture of it. I wouldn't get the license plate anyway. So, I mean, I don't see that very often, but to tell you the truth, I see these guys speeding through on Portola, and what they'll do is they're going 35 or better, and all of a sudden they'll see the radar sign, and then they'll slow down to 25 or 24. And they do that repeatedly. So I see a lot of violations there. But it's more complex than that. People have realized that they can take Work Avenue, which I live on, they can take that as a shortcut, go up Saucedo, and then take a right and go into Seaside. And I have to disagree with you about the people that's speeding in Del Oaks. I think it's more of people going to Seaside than it is Del Oaks residents. I really do. I strongly believe that. But anyway, they take that shortcut, and then they come down Saucedo, and your police car does nothing. They're so used to that car sitting there, they don't care about it. But they come down Saucedo, and they take a right on Work, and boom, they're off and running. And the same thing, they come up Work, and they come around Saucedo, and they cut the corner. There's no striping there or anything else, and they just cut the corner like they're on a racetrack at Laguna Seca. I mean, I see this every day. So it is kind of annoying. And someday something's going to come down Saucedo and they're going to meet right in the middle. Hasn't happened, but I think it probably will. What the solution is, I don't. You guys got a great team. I admit that. That's a very good team. And I liked all those guys. You did a good job in the personnel. And I think, but anyway, I don't know what to do. I mean, something's going to happen. I would like some relief, but you just don't get it. I don't see a solution. Chief doesn't see a solution. You guys don't see a solution. I like this gentleman's idea right back here. Close Carlton. I really like that. I mean, maybe that's not practical, but it would certainly stop these people from going through there. And maybe we can have a calm streets again. I was talking to a gentleman at Lynn's on Portola, and him and I were in elementary school together and played on the same baseball team. And he remembers when he was growing up there that they used to be able to ride their bike in the middle of the street and there was no problem. It's gotten far worse since Fortag started this project, which is going to get to be a nightmare. I hope I'm not taking up too much time. Anyway, it's going to be a nightmare because what I understand is they're going to open up work and they're going to open it up to Carlton and not Canyon Del Rey. So all these guys, they're going to realize, oh, we don't need to go to Portola anymore. We'll just go work to Carlton, straight to Seaside. Now it's going to get worse. And when they open this up in March, whenever that is, March, April, May, who knows? That's going to be boom, boom. So the traffic's going to increase on Work and Carlton. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you for all your work.
I'll just 1 second, if I could respond really quickly. Only Alex, I think, was here. Maybe even Alex wasn't here when Carlton was closed. Were you here, Alex?
Yeah, temporary closure.
It was politically unpopular. I guess that's the best way to put it. I'll just leave it at that. In terms of safety, we are participating currently with the county in a project, Vision Zero, in order to get federal dollars for the county. Or really what they're looking at is areas of danger where people are getting killed, where they're getting hurt significantly. And we participated in that. In fact, we will have a place in the Vision Zero plan. What we didn't have is a lot of collisions other than on Canyon Del Rey. Certainly significant collisions. Thinking back, we've had some rollovers on I call them our streets. They're rare. And I'm thankful for that. I'm not saying that nobody is going to get hurt. Somebody will get hurt. Nobody had been killed on Canyon Del Rey since I'd been here until somebody got killed on Canyon Del Rey. So it will happen. And likely due to a result of negligence on somebody's part. But in terms of cars, just running into each other every day, bad accidents, people getting injured, it's just not happening on our streets. And again, I'm thankful for that. I'm not dismissing an issue with speeding at all. The two can be this, same parts of the same sides of both sides of the same coin, I don't like speeders in my neighborhood where I live in Salinas, and I know that you don't either. But thankfully, in terms of our city streets, they have shown to be relatively safe in comparison to a lot of places in the county that is going to be receiving this money to try to fix things. So that's all.
Susan Blush, Baxter Place. Just yesterday, I was leaving my house at 5 minutes to 4, pulled out onto Portola. Well, after these 3 cars came buzzing past me really, really fast. And I thought, wow, are these people cutting through? And sure enough, they they did a running stop at Carlton, they did a running stop on the other one, and then the one up at the top of the little hill there, by Plumas, they did a running stop there and went right on into Seaside. And I thought, goodness gracious, people really are using this as their speedy way to get to Seaside, which I hadn't actually experienced with my own eyeballs before. But maybe somebody could sit there or park a car there, a police car there during the commute time and maybe slow it down. Although as soon as they see no one's there, it'll only work for a day or so. But maybe we could do something to at least make them more aware that we are paying attention to what's going on, because I do think that that gentleman made a very good point about how dangerous it's going to be when they open that up again. So anything to deter that would be good.
Helen Birdsong again. I would have said speed bumps, which are all over the UK. I know we're not in the UK, and I've just looked it up very quickly. If they're installed correctly and have posts saying that they have them, and they're visible, they can't sue the city. It says very clearly, yes, a city can be held liable for accidents caused by improperly installed or poorly marked speed bumps on public roads. If it's not installed properly, why would you install something improperly? And if you put the speed bumps on, it works. You can't get sued for damaging somebody's car. The only way it can damage your car is if you're going over it at a ridiculous speed. Just a suggestion. And the other thing is, thank you. Matt Billock is our maintenance contractor, and he liaises with you, but it is at the courtesy of the board and the HOA that allows access to our cameras. But I thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Any other public comments for the chief of police? All right, thanks. Public comment is closed. Thank you very much, Chief Bergwin.
You're very welcome.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Assuming council members have had ample time to review, would any council members like to pull any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, and at this time, we'll again invite the public. Any public comments relative to the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
To approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, consent agenda passes. And the next item on the agenda is old business, of which we have none. The item after that is new business. We're going to consider approval of the fiscal year 24-25 annual city audit, and I'll turn that over to the city manager to introduce that item.
All right, thank you. Well, so we can get to it quickly, I'm going to be brief. As you know, this is something that we do every year to review the previous year's budget and our audited financials. This is the report on our audit. The budget committee has already heard this and approved it to bring it forward to you all. And Paul is here to, you guys have seen Paul for the last several years, so I don't think I need to introduce him, but he's here to tell you how wonderful we're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I thank you, Council, for inviting me out to share with you the results of the June 30th, 2025 audit. So in terms of our audit stance, for those new folks here who haven't heard this before, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, they put out auditing standards which we adhere to in our audit, and the city being a local government, we adhere to government auditing standards that are issued by the Government Accountability Office. So the objective of our audit is really just to make sure that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. In terms of our audit process, we come out about halfway through the year. We look at your internal controls, we assess your internal controls, make sure the design is good and that they're properly implemented. And then at the end of the year, after your team closes their books, we come in and we perform some standard procedures and analytical procedures and things of that sort, on top of some compliance work that we do. So basically crunching the numbers and making sure you guys are in compliance. If I could reference you to table 1, which is going to be on page, I'm sorry, these tables aren't numbered, but on page 7, there's a summary of net position. What you'll see there is at the very bottom number, the net position increased by just under 100,000. Some of the significant items you see there, your current assets dropped by 230, and capital assets went up by 350. That's basically you're taking your cash, which are the current assets, and then spending that down on these capital projects that you guys have been working on. So your ending net position is over 21 million. So you're in a strong net position there. But if the next page, the next table on page 8, just some of the key things there. One of the key things is you see that there's a big jump this last year in your capital grants. So yeah, I'm sure you guys are well aware of that one with the projects that you guys did this last year. I believe that was through the FHA grants that you guys had spent down. So what you guys really care about, though, is going to be what's known as your fund financial statement. So if I could reference you to page 15. So page 15, what you'll see is going to be a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And so at the very bottom there, under the FHA grant fund, you see there's a decrease of 475,000 or over 57,000, sorry. And that's expected. You guys spent down those funds on those capital projects. And with the general fund, you see an increase there of over 420,000. And so the general fund being your main operating fund. And so overall, within the funds, just under 400,000 decrease over the year, still at a very strong fund balance overall of over 22 million, with the general fund at just under 13 million. So your finances are looking strong. No concerns here from us. So if there aren't any questions on the numbers, I can go right into the audit results. All right. So if I could reference you to page 58, kind of the very end there, those would be what our audit results. We did have, so as far as the financial statements, the financial statements, we issued an unmodified opinion, which is a good thing. It means that the financial statements were fairly presented in all material respects. However, in terms of internal controls and some of the compliance work that we did have a finding this last year related to your bid compliance. I did meet with your budget and finance committee not that long ago and went into some details of some of the things that we were working on. I didn't get to see who was on that call, but hopefully some of you guys were and heard that piece of it. But overall, related to that finding, we have no concerns there. It was just a little hiccup in the process. You guys have good internal controls. You guys have people who have the skills, knowledge, and experience to make sure that you guys are in compliance with bid requirements, public contract code, things of that sort. So we don't expect this to be a repeat finding. I think it was just a one-off for this year. With that, no lack of your ability to continue as a going concern, which basically means that you're not going to close your doors anytime soon. We had no significant uncorrected adjustments, no difficulties during our audit, no disagreements with management. And we truly appreciate Karen and her team and Elizabeth. It was a tough year this year. We had a lot of stuff that we were digging into that took a lot of time to really try to get the answers and the documents that we needed. So we truly appreciate you guys putting in that effort for us. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, John. Great report. Any questions from council members? Councilmember Shirley?
I don't have any questions, but thanks. This is obviously, we had a good audit last year or the year before. It's so nice to repeat that. And I want to thank staff. I know that this is a lot of work to get this done. So thanks for that. I think the only comment that I want to make is just to point out our unappropriated fund balance.
Okay.
In that I realize our staff is very fiscally conservative, and I appreciate that. I also recognize that that unappropriated fund balance brings in a lot of interest money for us, which is one of our revenue sources. We don't have many. And so, but I do believe that as we go into budget talks this year, I think as a council, we need to really look at that fund balance and decide, do we, I mean, that's the residents' money. Do we hold on to it and make more money from it, or should we appropriate it to other things? Should we pour more money in the reserves? So I just feel like it's a lot of money to be unappropriated, and I'd like to see us sort of think about how we want to use that next year. That's it, though. Thank you.
Councilmember Berger?
Great job, everyone. It's highly appreciated. I don't think the public recognizes it, but the fact that they don't recognize it is the kudos right there. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything, City Manager?
Yeah, I do, even though Paul was very kind and kind of, we talked more about it at the budget committee about what the finding was, but since it's the only finding we've had in the 4 years that I've been here, it's kind of fun to talk about because I'm used to working in other agencies where we spend weeks and sometimes months responding to auditor findings. So, and this one was nobody's fault. It's just we have a very small team. And what's unique here is that everybody rolls up their sleeves and jumps in and tries new things, and everybody's willing to do whatever needs to get done to move to accomplish the mission and move the city forward and do whatever needs to get done. And so we all do that. We all wear multiple hats. It's the only place I've ever worked where people do that and then don't complain or don't ask for more money or get resentful. They actually look forward to it and are excited about it. And so, but with that, sometimes we make mistakes. We don't all know everything. And this was associated with federal funding, which isn't something that we deal with here very often. And so it was a learning experience. And now we have a policy to help guide. Probably the next time it happens, most of us won't be here anymore, but it'll guide the next people when they come in. So we appreciate Paul and his team pointing that out to us and helping us with that. So just, learn from your mistakes and you get better.
I can open up a public comment. Any members of the public? Any questions for Paul here? Seeing none, we'll close that. Thank you again for your presentation, Paul.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Right, and this is an actionable item. So we will entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 24-25 annual city audit.
I'll make
Oh.
a motion.
And I'll second.
And I'll agree. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. FY 24-25 here thereby approved. All right, next item on the agenda is staff reports. City manager, would you like to do that now or?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Yeah. So just really quick, so Regen, you're specifically for our waste hauler, we have 4 years left on the contract, I believe. 4 years left on the contract with Green Waste. So we have a technical advisory committee made up of representatives from all of the cities that contract through Regen, to start discussing what do we want to do? Do we want to continue with Green Waste and extend their contract, which is allowable under the contract, or do we want to go out for RFP? And if we do, what does that look like? What do we want to see? So a big part of that is going to be community input. And so this is my push for you all. They're going to be doing a community survey. It's going to be random, and it'll be, so whatever information they have on individual customers, whether it's your email, your phone number, or your address, you may be getting a phone call, or you may be getting an email, or even a text message, or something in the mail. So don't be afraid of it. It should only take 10 minutes. It's a really good opportunity to give input on what services are working for you, what services aren't working for you. That'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I don't know how many of our residents will be surveyed, but it's going to be a fairly significant number, I believe. They want to get a good sample size to make sure that they're covering all their bases. We hired a firm that does this kind of thing, so it'll be very professionally done. Hopefully, you'll recognize the number when it comes in. But if you have any concerns, if you get a number and you're not sure it's the right one, you can always check with us at City Hall, or you can call the staff at Regen and just verify that it's the right people calling and asking you questions. So that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Oh, and then actually later in March, I think it's in March, they're going to be doing also community meetings. I think it's on March 24th, 26th, and 27th, I think. But we'll get, once I have the information clearly, once we get the flyers from them, we'll send that out, email blast, put it on the website and everything. So you'll have it all clearly on what those dates are. We're still working on the details of it, but I think we're going to do 2 meetings in English only, and then 1 meeting that's English with a Spanish interpreter as well. So, yeah. So stay tuned. And then Kim can double check me because she's our director and representative if I missed anything.
Good.
Great. Thank you, John. Item 8H, council reports are in the packet, as are any correspondence received to the city. So that would cover item 9I. So at this time, the council will adjourn to closed session to discuss a matter. We will reconvene after discussion of said matter, but before we do, the public has an opportunity to provide comment on the item to be heard. Seeing none, we will adjourn. Now reconvene after closed session and we'll call to the city attorney to report out.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With respect to the one item on closed session, special counsel provided an update to the city council. Direction was given, but no reportable action was taken.
Thank you, City Attorney Lorca. All right, the next meeting date will be Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at the regular time, 6 p.m., and we are adjourned.